everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alyssa and I just graduated. Here's video evidence of my graduation ceremony, which took place on my front porch. So, since the end of my senior year was canceled, I've had a lot of time to reflect on my undergraduate experience, and I thought that I would impart some of my post-grad wisdom on you all. So first of all, you need to get rid of your expectations because college is nothing like you expect it's going to be, and it's also nothing like high school. There is no one perfect college experience, so let go of all your hopes and dreams because they will not come true. Just kidding. College is amazing, but for real, it will not be what you expect it to be, and that's okay. It will probably be better. For example, I had a lot of friends in high school. I was very outgoing, so I expected I would have a lot of friends in college, and I vividly remember sitting in my backyard with all of my friends from high school before we went away to college, and all my friends were so nervous. They were all like, I'm not gonna have any friends, what am I gonna do? And I was so confident. I was like, don't worry guys, you'll make friends on your floor, you'll make friends in clubs, you'll make friends, everyone makes friends. And then I got to college and realized that if you want to make friends, you have to put yourself out there. I had not made a single friend on my own since kindergarten, basically, because all of my friends up until my senior year of high school, I either met in kindergarten or I became friends with them through activities that we both did, and we were forced to spend time with each other. So I did not actually know how to make friends. So like I said, if you want friends, you have to go out and get them. It's easier said than done. It's actually really scary to put yourself out there, but I would suggest trying to make friends on your floor at first. So leave your door open like everyone says, and if other people have their door open, go around, say hi, introduce yourself. And then obviously as time goes on, you'll make friends in clubs and from your classes and stuff like that. I think one mistake that a lot of people make is thinking that their freshman friends will be their forever friends. So people find their group the first week of school and really bond with them over their first frat party, and they think this is it, these are my bridesmaids, this is my family for life. That is true for some people, but most likely your first friend group in college is not going to be your friend group throughout all of college, which can be sad but can also be a good thing. I got really lucky and some of my best friends from freshman year are still my best friends to this day, but I've also formed really strong bonds with people I do things with. So everyone from my clubs and my theater organizations and my classes, people I did projects with, that's how you really form bonds with people, is by doing things with them and working on things and having things in common. You may find your forever friends the first week of your freshman year, but you will also pick up more friendships, probably stronger friendships throughout college. It's a big thing when you're going into college to find your roommate, find your perfect match, and just because you like someone doesn't mean that you will live well with them. I don't think very many people realize this, and you can find your perfect person, your soulmate, on Facebook, but you will not actually know if you live well with them until you try. If you do find your best friend, your soulmate, and you live well with them, that's a miracle. Consider yourself very lucky. It's okay to not be best friends with your roommate. I had a random roommate. We were not friends at all, but we coexisted very well. Some of my friends roomed with people they thought they were gonna get along with great, and things were amazing for the first few months, but then things very quickly fell apart very badly. To prevent this, obviously it helps to be friends with your roommate, but the most important thing is that you can communicate well with them, and you can avoid roommate problems by being a good roommate. So be clean. I am a very messy person. I know this about myself. I'm self-aware, but I also don't impose my mess on other people. I had a lofted bed, which I absolutely love so much. That's a big tip. If you have the option to loft your bed, do it. It's so much fun. I would have a pile of dirty clothes on my floor and I would push everything underneath my bed so that my roommate didn't have to see it, didn't have to go through it. It did not affect her in any way. Try to at least keep the mess to your side of the room and keep it minimum. And also, if you're hanging out in your room, just be respectful of your roommate's space and time. Don't be listening to TV out loud, wear headphones. If you really need to focus, go somewhere else. Just be a decent human being. A lot of people join Greek life to make friends, and I joined a sorority my freshman year. I loved it so much. I have no regrets. but there are a lot of pros and cons to joining Greek life. I could make an entire video talking about all the issues and also all the good things about Greek life. So I would really just encourage you to think it through before you commit yourself to anything. It really is a huge commitment, and you have to consider the financial aspect of it, the time commitment, whether or not you actually want to be in a sorority or if you're just doing it because all your friends are doing it. And also, going through recruitment can be very intense. It's not necessarily the best thing for your mental health to be constantly comparing yourself to other girls and thinking about how good you are, if you're good enough to be in this group or this group. It's just not the vibe. I would definitely consider if you are emotionally ready for that. I feel like a lot of people when they first get to college are not. My next tip is to keep in mind that there are things to do other than partying. It's great when you first get to college to explore your newfound freedom and independence. I definitely enjoyed myself, and some of my favorite memories from college were from the first few parties I went to my freshman year. But especially if you go to a big school like Michigan, there are tons of other things to do. So if you get tired of partying or you're burnt out or just want to do something else, there's always a student org putting on a show or throwing an event or doing something that's extremely fun that has nothing to do with drinking or partying. And I feel like oftentimes those experiences help bond you with your friends more than partying will, and then when you do go out, it will be way more fun. Next, I want to say to try everything, and this applies to everything in college. Well, not everything. Literally try every single club that you can. Go to every org fair, everything, sign up for every email list, take every flyer. It's worth it. At orientation, I signed up to be on the sailing club email list because I was like,
I've never sailed before in my life, but that sounds mildly interesting.
I put my name on the list and I was on the email list for like 3 years. I never went to a single event, but about 3 years in, there was big drama with the sailing team and I got to hear about it. It was fun. And go to every mass meeting, every first meeting that a club has, because at the beginning of your freshman year, you probably have nothing better to do anyway. Drag your friends to whatever random club meeting you want to go to. In the first few weeks of my freshman year, one of my friends convinced me to go to a Lebanese club meeting. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not really the target member of Lebanese club. But I went to the meeting and they had free pizza, and I did make a friend who's still my friend to this day because we went to the Lebanese club meeting together. So obviously I did not end up joining Lebanese club, but I did join a lot of other clubs. As you go on in college, eventually you just naturally narrow down your interests. I was involved with a lot of things my freshman year that I chose not to do again sophomore year, etc. But as you do narrow your interests more and more, those choices get harder of what clubs you're going to commit yourself to and which ones you need to step away from. So this tip is more for upperclassmen, but I just wanted to say, do not be afraid to narrow down your interests and focus your efforts on one thing. Once I decided to study theater, I was all in. I was so excited. I got involved with literally every single theater student org that there was, and even started my own because the ones that were there weren't enough. I was super involved. I did everything. I had a really hard time saying no to things. First of all, because I felt bad, but second of all, because I genuinely just wanted to do everything. It's okay to not do everything, and in fact, I would say that you cannot do everything. I definitely got burned out. I was just going and going and going, and I didn't even realize how bad I felt until I stopped. End of my junior year, I realized that I was way in over my head and I had to take a step back. And my senior year, I focused my efforts on 2 clubs, which I had leadership positions in. Obviously, a lot of people are concerned with building up their resume, but I genuinely believe that if you have legitimate, passionate experience in 1 or 2 groups, that is so much more impressive than having a few experiences in 4 or 5 groups, but you didn't actually accomplish anything, or you weren't actually passionate about it because you had so many things. Okay, let's talk about picking your classes. I remember so clearly when I was signing up for classes my freshman year, I wanted my advisor to tell me what to do and tell me what classes to take, but she just kept saying,
take whatever you want, just take what you're interested in.
And I was so frustrated because I was like, aren't you supposed to tell me what to do? In hindsight, that was really good advice. I signed up for really random classes my first semester. I took astronomy and art history, and I don't even remember. I took classes in things that I had never been exposed to in high school just to try them out and see what I liked. I ended up hating astronomy. Art history was okay. And honestly, for a while, I felt pretty lost because I kept taking classes that I thought I would enjoy and I liked them, but I didn't love anything. Then my sophomore year when I was signing up for classes, I saw on the schedule, Intro to Stage Management. And I was like,
Theater. I did theater in high school. Maybe that'll be my fun class for the semester.
I was like, yeah, it's just for fun. It'll be fun. Theater is fun. And I took it and it changed my life and it convinced me to apply to be a theater major. And here we are, and now it is my entire career. So you really never know what classes are going to lead to certain opportunities. And in terms of picking a major, don't stress about it too much. It will come naturally if you keep taking classes that you like. So say you take a communications class and you really liked it. So then you take another one and another one and another one. And then you've taken 6 classes and then you're like, oh, I guess this is my major now. Obviously, a lot of people are motivated by money, which isn't a bad thing, but as cliche as it is, I really believe that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. But I think that also applies to classes, because if you take classes that you like, you'll automatically do better because you'll be more interested in the material and you'll want to study more and you'll just absorb the information better, so you'll automatically get better grades. But also, if you're the type of person who gets excited by a lot of different things like me, that's okay too, because your major does not matter. It truly doesn't matter. Unless you are a STEM major or something really technical, what you major in truly does not matter. You can graduate with any humanities degree and do any humanities job. Also, one of my favorite things about my major was how small it was. So if you go to a big school like Michigan and you don't like taking big classes, I would encourage you to pick a small major if you can and if it's something you're interested in. So I chose theater, and the theater school is super tiny, and my major is literally like, my graduating class was less than 10 people, so it is small. It's kind of a weird dynamic going to a huge university and having a tiny major, but I really like it. My first semester or two in the theater school, I definitely barely knew anyone, and it was really intimidating walking in on my first day of class. But then the more classes I took, it was so nice on the first day of the semester showing up and seeing a classroom full of your friends. And it honestly made it feel like less of an academic environment and more like a community. I just loved it. This might sound really weird, but one of the reasons I chose theater was because I loved hearing the way that other theater majors talked about each other. It felt very high school, but in a fun way. Like, everyone knew each other. There was always something to talk about. I love gossip. That's so bad. But I just love hearing everyone talk about each other, and I could just tell that it was such a tight-knit community, and that was really what I wanted. Okay, let's talk about study tips. So just go to class. You just have to go to class. When you first get to college, it can feel so good to know that no one's making you go to class and you can just lay in bed, especially big classes that don't take attendance. You're gonna tell yourself that you're gonna catch up and read the book and do the notes and all of that, but you truly will not learn if you don't go to class. So you have to go to class. No one's making you go to class, but I am making you. You have to go to class. Even if you don't take notes or even pay attention at all, you are still absorbing the information by being there. I take notes by just sitting there and doodling, and all my friends would make fun of me and think that I wasn't paying attention in class because literally my whole page was full of doodles, but that was my way of paying attention. That was how I got myself to focus. So just whatever you can do to get yourself to focus will help you in the long run. One of the amazing parts about college is that you can finally figure out what systems and habits actually work for you. I found out that I work best during the day, which I never would have known before, because in high school I would get home at 9 p.m. and then have to do all my homework, but really I would just procrastinate until 3 a.m. and then at 3 a.m. it was too late to start, so I would just go to sleep and then try to wake up early to do it in the morning, but then I was too tired and it was really bad. So I figured out in college that I work best during the day. When I was picking my classes, I would leave gaps in between every class. So after my one class, I would go to the library or go to a coffee shop. I also figured out that I have a really hard time studying and focusing at home. I also honestly did not like the libraries that much, at least the main ones. I loved going to coffee shops, but I had a professor this semester who said that you actually study best in silent spaces, whether or not you think you do. Even if you think you love having background noise or you love listening to music, your attention just doesn't work that way. You can't focus on the music and focus on what you're doing at the same time. I hate to say it, but silent libraries are probably your best bet for studying. Also, speaking of attention, in that same class we did an entire unit about directed attention and direct attention fatigue. Look it up. It's really fascinating. It's basically the idea that your mind has a limited amount of attention to spend, and if you don't do anything to restore your attention, you're basically, what's the word? You're running on fumes. Is that it? You're burning the candle at both ends. You're just not doing well. You can't focus if your attention is burnt out. So some ways to restore your attention are sleeping, meditating, spending time in nature, but it's not the same as relieving stress. So even though watching TV might be a great stress reliever, it will actually diminish your attention even more. I'm probably butchering this because I took this class last semester and I'm graduated, so I have no obligation to remember anything anymore. I'll put some resources in the description actually, because this whole thing just occurred to me and I wish I had notes, but you gotta look it up. Life-changing. If you're not already, now would be a really good time to invest in a planner or get on the bullet journaling trend. In high school, if you have an assignment due at the end of the month, your teachers are going to be there to remind you every single day, don't forget you have this assignment due at the end of the month. But in college, no one's checking up on you. No one's making sure that you remember things like that. It is more crucial than ever to be organized. I also use Google Calendar religiously. I also love Google Tasks. If you don't know what that is, it's an app, but it also connects to your Google Calendar. So you have your events of the day and then your tasks show up at the top of each day. You can plan your tasks around your events and you can even schedule times for your tasks. So if you see you have a day where you're booked all day, you're super busy, then don't put a task on that day. Put it on the next day or the day before so you actually have time to get it done and then you don't feel bad when you don't do it. Just this year, I started putting in every single task for the whole semester at the beginning of the semester. So I would go through every syllabus and put in every assignment and do repeating tasks for reading and stuff like that. And it just super kept me organized. It was so nice to have it with my calendar. And I also just want to say that studying in college and college classes in general are super different from high school, especially with grading. It's important to keep in mind that there is an adjustment period. Like I said, when you first get to college, you're figuring out how you study and what works best for you. So give yourself time to adjust. And also grading is super weird, and just know that your grade doesn't necessarily reflect how good of a job you did. You might try super hard in one class and get a C+ and then not try it all in another class and get an A. Grading just completely depends on the professor and what they want. But the good news is grades in college are way, way, way less important than grades in high school. So don't think about it too much. Don't stress. They really don't matter at all unless you're going to grad school. So if you're going to grad school, I'm sorry, but I'm not. This is a completely random tip, but it didn't fit in any other category. I just want to say that at the end of my freshman year, I was eating pizza and ice cream every single day. Every single day. I really was. You know, I was having a great time doing it. I really was. But I also felt terrible all the time. The freshman 15 is inevitable and it doesn't matter. Don't worry about gaining weight or losing weight or anything like that. It doesn't matter, but how you feel does matter. The dining hall is a blessing and a curse, and there's a lot of freedom involved, and depending on how lucky you are, it might be amazing or terrible. Either way, just make sure you're eating food to fuel your body. I was lucky and I was in a dorm with a great dining hall, but I ate pizza and ice cream every single day. Just don't do that. Lastly, I just want to say, try not to compare yourself with your friends from home. Like I said at the beginning of this video, there is no one perfect college experience, and it's not going to be anything like you expect. Comparing yourself to your friends just won't do you any good and will just end up making you feel worse. I had so much fun when I first got to college, talking to all my friends from home and comparing our experiences, and it really brought me closer to them. Even though I wasn't with them in person, it was so much fun to talk about what we were all going through. But don't get too caught up in it, because I would come home for breaks and my friends would be talking about all the parties they went to and what frats were good at their schools and all this stuff that I didn't really care about or relate to. If you are talking to your friends or seeing on social media, it seems like everyone else is having an amazing experience and you're not. I promise you it will get better. It always does. You will find your place, you will find your friends, you'll find your major, you'll end up in the right classes. You will thrive in college. You just have to trust yourself. That was so cliche, but it's true. I'm standing by it. Okay guys, those are all my tips for thriving in college. If you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments, and especially if you are going to Michigan or if you want to be a theater major, talk to me. I would love to answer any questions. I miss college. I graduated 2 weeks ago and I want to relive my experience through you. If you gained anything from these tips, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon.